What's going on, everyone? So right now is my Monarch deck profile for the March 2018 format. This is updated from my Domain Monarch deck I profiled last week. And if you guys haven't already saw it, make sure after this video, you guys go over to my other video and check out my Monarch duel video I just did, where I went against pretty much all meta decks, showing you guys how good this deck really is. Alright guys, so let's get into the deck profile. Without further ado, let's begin. We got the main deck right here, we got the side deck right here. So I'm going to start off with showing you guys what the deck runs and explaining some few plays in the deck and how good the deck is pretty much. We got one after the Heavenly Monarch. You have to run it, staple in the deck, no exceptions. Now, in my last build, I ran one Mithra, but since I did take out the Kaijus, I upped Mithra to 2. I realized after playing the Kaiju variant, you would open up a lot of hands where you open up a Monarch with no way to tribute. And sometimes you don't really want to rely on your idea and your idols a lot, which is why you would have your Mithra. For you guys who not know, Mithra has a pretty solid effect. Let me go ahead and try to focus it out real quick. It pretty much reads, once you special something from your hand, you give your opponent a token, and if you tribute something with Mithra for that turn, you get an additional tribute summon. So essentially you can go double Erebus, but overall he's mainly just a tribute fodder card, which is really good because he helps start your turn, and he's not vulnerable to things like Effect Veiler, like Idea and Idols is. So yeah, Mithra is pretty solid, so I had to bump it up to 2. A lot of builds back in the day used to run more than the 1, so yeah. It's naturally, with the deck getting hit, you would have to run that. And you guys already know my 3 Idoses, 3 Ideas. Bread and butter of the deck. Nothing more to be said. Once you get these little guys going, they're so good. Idea, if you guys do not know, who's new to the channel right now, please subscribe. But you normal summon your Idea. Normal special summon, you can special summon 1 monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense from your deck in defense position. Except Idea, of course. So pretty much you go Idea, special summon up Idols. Idols kicks in, you get the tribute summon for the turn. Then they have their graveyard effects. When Idea goes to the graveyard, you can add a Banished Monarch spell or trap card from your banished zone to your hand. And when Idols goes to the graveyard, while he's in the graveyard, rather, you can banish him to special summon Idea. So they work in conjunction with each other, but overall, both solid cards, staple in the deck. These are pretty much all my tribute fodder right here, and I think 8 tribute cards in the Monarch deck is pretty solid, especially because back in the day, a lot of you old school players is just used to running Tree Bone Frog. But yeah, that's like 2006, 2007. That's too old school. All right, so running 2 Majesty's Fiend. This card is so freaking good against Trick Stars and Pendulum Magicians. Reason being, monster effects cannot be activated. Why is that good? The Poison Magicians in the Pendulum deck. So when your opponent destroys them with their Metaphors cards, they won't get their popping abilities because those are monster effects. And like Majesty's Fiend says, what guys? He stops monster effects. And outside of that, he stops hand traps. And he also stops, monster effects. He's just a really good card in general. Stopping hand traps, stopping pendulums. Overall, solid card. I like it at 2. Some people ask me, why don't I run the other one, Vanity's Fiend? Vanity's Fiend is good, but this is searchable return for the Monarch. I built my deck around consistency, so yeah, I love Majesty's Fiend as a 2 of because it's just a good card, and it can lock your opponent out. The whole goal of this deck is just to cancel out your opponent and lock him out from the duel. I run the 2 Karazas. I debated on cutting him down to 1, but you need 2 Karazas. It's a turn starter, and it's also a play disruptor, which are Ether, because Ether has a Ether, where is he at? He has that second ability where you can bring him out on your opponent's turn by tributing off a tribute summon monster in your board, or just by tribute summoning him off in general. And so you can bring him out on your opponent's turn, send a spell and trap, bring out Karaz, pop, or pop Karaz to draw a card on your turn on your field, and pop one of your opponent's cards to disrupt their play. But yeah, Karaz is just pretty much consistency for the deck and to help you draw through your cards. Pretty good, pretty powerful. Definitely like it at 2. That's it for the tribute lineup. I think my tribute lineup and my monster lineup is pretty solid for what it is. One doesn't brick more than the other. Now, I replaced the Kaijus for hand traps because I forgot the other tribute card. 3 Erebuses. Also, the bread and butter of the deck. You guys already know what he does. While he's in the graveyard, this is huge. You can send a Monarch spell and trap card from your hand to add him back to your hand, or another monster that can be tribute summoned from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty much the same stats as him, or 2400 and 1000 defense. But his card that removes from the field, either out of your opponent's hand, send from your graveyard to the deck. The shuffling effect of him just shuffling back cards to the deck is so good. I mean, Erebus is the B-stick, which is why he's running the deck. Yeah, nothing more to be said about that. I've heard some people say they want to run him down to 2. They don't think Erebus and out there is that good. They want to go to like Caius and etc. You guys can try that stuff if you want to, but I've discovered Monarchs, honestly, right now, they run based off of Erebus and Ether. They allow you to do multiple things and have multiple effects, and they allow you to play on your opponent's turn with Prime, and they allow you to set up your graveyard. So overall, they're pretty much unfair when they start going off. So which is why you want to run these over like Caius and etc. Because some people were asking me that in my Kaiju build. Ran off the deck, 1 Ash Blossom only because I have one. I refuse to pay $60 for the reprint and $80 for the regular. I pulled it out of my Kaiba collection, as you guys already know, so I am running the 1 Ash Blossom. So I am running the 1 Ash Blossom because I refuse to pay for more. So yeah, Ash Blossom is good. If you have 3, play 3. I'm running 1. Or actually, you might not even need to play 3. Play 2 because Pendulum Magician is just looking to be the best deck right now. And I run 3 Effect Veilers because Effect Veiler is the next best thing to Ash Blossom. It can negate Heavy Metalfoes Electromite. It can negate dinosaur players from trying to search out with their Oviraptor. It just does so much for being a pretty much dirt cheap card. You can get it for like 50 cents. I'm not a rarity whore, so you really don't have to worry about playing high rarity cards. I think 4 hand traps is good enough for this format because in this format, literally anything and everything can top. So in a deck that already pretty much stuns a lot, I think this is good enough. Even back in the Monarch days, we really pretty much only ran 3 Veilers and that was it. Only a few Monarch players ran Maxi, but I don't even think they even main deck Maxi. They sided it, if that. Alrighty. Now for the spells and traps. 3 Domain. Bread and butter deck. I shouldn't really have to explain it. Reduces by levels. It boosts your tribute summon monster's attack power when they battle up. And it just locks your opponent out of your graveyard. This is the reason why the deck is good. You can stop your opponent out of the extra deck. It's pretty much Vanity's Infinite, which is why it's good. 3 Tenacities, consistency. Reveal a Monarch in your hand with 2400 attack and 1000 defense, or 2100 attack and 1000 defense. Add the Monarch spell and trap card from your deck to your hand. You don't activate 1 Tenacity once per turn. Really good. 3 Return of the Monarchs. Once again, the key word, guys, consistency. You want to make sure when you're tributing, you have this to keep your hand afloat, because you have a lot of instances in this deck where you would be low on resources. So grabbing that Aether as soon as possible, grabbing an Erebus or a Majesty's Fiend for said situation as soon as possible is optimum to winning your duel. 2 Allure Darkness for consistency. I bumped it down to 2 when I added the hand traps to make room. And honestly, I haven't been missing the 3rd one. I might even cut it down to 1 because I'm starting to believe ever since the deck lost Gofu, Allure Darkness is not that good, but it's still solid, helping you get into your combo pieces a lot better. The 1 Pantheism staple, like you can draw with it, searches. Foolish Burial, staple, especially now since we the deck has a lot of consistency issues from losing Ether. Yeah, man. This Foolish Burying out down idea. You have instances where you open up both of these. You can Foolish Bury idea, Monster Reborn idea, and start your turn from there with a double tribute summon. Really good. I've actually done that in locals and won a game because of it. So yeah, man. Monster Reborn is just so good. I actually won a duel at locals yesterday because of Monster Reborn. Playing against a what deck was he playing? I think he was playing. No, he was playing Dinosaurs. He was playing Shadow Dinosaurs. I brought out Erebus. He set past. No, he brought out Chaos Hunter. On my turn, I made Erebus, ran over Chaos Hunter, Monster Reborn Chaos Hunter, and it was GG. Yeah, Monster Reborn is dumb. It's probably gonna get banned again. 1 Rhoda for to search out idea. Only reason you would run Rhoda. Regeki because it's broken. Stormforth because you can do so many tricky plays like activate Stormforth on your opponent's turn while you have an Aether in hand. Banish Stormforth. Tribute off your monster on your board. Tribute off their monster because of Stormforth. Bring out your Aether, if you guys don't know what I'm saying. I'm talking about this guy right here, because apparently people can't understand what I'm saying when I'm talking. So bring out that guy right there and do some nutty plays. Good disruption combo, which is why this is reduced down to 1. Then you play the 1-for-1 and the 2 primes because they're broken. Now, I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm kind of going to fly through my side deck and explain them seldomly. 3 Zaphions for Pendulum Magicians, the Metalfoes variant that still run the Pendulum back row. And people who like to run heavy back row decks. Twin Twister for heavy back row decks, depending on the deck you want to run against. System Down for ABC. Gamma Seal for decks that like to run like Masterpiece and ABC. And the random 6 Samurai Tree Draco. Twin Twisters again. I didn't know I had that in here. 3, 6, 8, 9. Okay, that's 9 cards. 200 Nightmare. It's more universal. Help out against pendulums. It can help out against monarchs if you run against it. Had a guy side deck this against me at locals, and it kind of put me in a bad position. And I think I'm gonna like this better in the long run because it helps out against multitude of decks versus anti-spell only help out against pendulums. TT because it's broken. Mirror Force Dark Hole for dinosaurs. TT is for dinosaurs as well. With all that being said, man, post your thoughts and opinions about my new updated Monarch list in the comment section down below. I'm in love with the deck. The deck is really fun to play, really easy to play. And for an 8 to 9 round event, I definitely feel comfortable bringing this to a tournament, especially since I don't have enough time to play, because there's not really a lot of thought process that goes into this deck outside of make domain, make big monster pass. If they try to out you, just start spamming the board with ID and autos and start to turn over. So yeah, man, subscribe if you haven't. This is Innovation YG, and I'm signing out. Peace.